Happy to meet you again in Business Doctor. Today we are going to discuss something very special. People have been talking about uh, learning in every walks of life, being a student, when you are working, when you are working in a senior executive level, when you become the CXO, when you are doing some sports, when you are meeting people, when you are doing an entrepreneurship, and so on and so forth. People have been talking about this word learning and learning every time whenever you go for a meeting or for a discussion or in any seminars. I came across this article on Learn to Learn from various sources, and the HBR one was really fascinating one. Now let's see what is learning in the first place. There are definite multiple definitions of learning. People use it in different contexts. People interpret it in a different way. But I choose this. Learning is to use one or more or all of the senses in the human body, understand what that sense is, comprehend, then be ready to apply in an appropriate way at different points in time in various situations. So, when you are learning, you will be learning from reading a material or listening to something or based on touch, based on behavioral activities, based on what your body dictates to you. It could be any of those things. So, it is a lifelong process, it's a continual process. And sometimes what happens is that when you are doing your job, like when you are eating, and you want to learn that which one is tasting you better and which one is not tasting you, or giving you a different sense. Or if you are working on a job, the job while working will give you a kind of sense to you that okay, this is how the results are going to be obtained, and this is not the way to get a result. So it is more or less on when you do or when you perform some job or other, something is going to happen in your life, and that is a continual process, and that's where your learning starts. But to start, you need to be a novice. Otherwise, if you believe that you know everything, then what happens is that that ego or that tendency of your brain or your body won't allow you to apply your sense to learn, to receive that input, whatever that is being seen there, or whatever you are reading, or whatever you are listening, or whatever you are hearing, or you are touching. Any of those senses won't get into your brain because the brain believes that you already know that and you don't want it. So you need to help yourself to be a novice so that you can always learn. So this article on HBR gives you four different perspective or skills by which one can learn to learn. And I like those four, and I'll say it for you. But you need to be clear on the want, what you want. That you must be very clear before you start learning. The first one is aspiration. You need to aspire what you gain from that learning. The gain could be getting a mark or getting a degree or getting a championship in a sport or winning an Olympic medal or become a CXO. That is an aspiration, and you must also envision how a happy future for yourself or for your society or for your family or community at large. That envisioning will drive you to get the gain, and that is the aspiration which will make you to learn. The other one is the encouragement. Encouragement is a great tool. So people in a business seminars, they always try to say, even for a small achievement you need to clap. All those things come in handy, but as long as you learn correctly, and if you stop at the first clap or second clap, then it won't give you the fulfillment of that learning. So you need to be clear on what you want and get encouraged in that direction. The second point is the self awareness. Okay, what I know, what I have been going through, or what I have already gone through, and what I want to do, what I have, what I don't have, what skills I have, what knowledge I have, what skills I don't have, what knowledge I don't have. That is an awareness of the self. Sometimes it may not be always possible to understand by ourselves. So sometimes you may have to get a feedback, and that feedback has to be, of course, qualified. You can't ask for feedback from someone who is not even knowledgeable or skillful on the topic. There are a lot of people, for example, they conduct a seminar or a training program in a hotel, and those guys have come there only to get learn. So when how can that people can advise, I mean, apprise the trainer or someone who taught in the first place? They can at best give you how the ambience was or any hygienic factors. So you need to be very clear from whom you are seeking the feedback. And once you get the feedback from the right set of people, there is always an option for each one to reflect on the self, what needs to be improved or what we know and what needs to be done to learn further. This is the very interesting point which you would have observed in the kids. Yeah, that is the curiosity. That's the third element. Curiosity is the one which makes everyone to be kiddish. Kiddish in the sense here, behaving like a kid. So if you're a kid, what you would be doing is that you won't get bored. You would repeat as many times as you want, and you will do everything new every time when you are attempting that, which means that if the child is going to do that some 20 times, each time the child believes that it is doing something new and it is not boring, and in that process it tries to learn or enjoy about it, and it repeats that until the child believes that it has got the required level of satisfaction. That is the envisioning of the happy life for a child. So start looking at from a child's behavior point of view and try to understand everything as if you are going to do that as a child, and what all the questions obviously you will have is that how that is done, or why it has to be like this, or what is that wondering point about the whole purpose. And maybe you may look at somebody else, your friends or neighbors or whoever is participating in that space, that why someone else is getting excited and why you are not getting excited, or what makes others to get excited and why you are not getting excited. Or it could be in the job that okay, I've been doing this monotonously for so many times or so many days I'm doing it, can I do this easier? So you have to look at afresh with a fresh mind of thinking, and then reapply like a kid. You just wonder it, what will happen if I could do this job in 5 minutes or 15 minutes or in 5 years, whatever it is. So that way, if you start looking at how to make my job easier, then there is an element of curiosity getting into your mind, which will do the magic. Otherwise, what will happen is that the that particular job might be boring, or the task might be boring, and as it can, I mean, cascades it over a period of time. No, the whole the employment will get bored, or the reading gets bored, or playing gets bored. Then you get into a different problems altogether. The fourth point, which is very tricky and simple, is that being vulnerable to learning. This is bit tricky in the sense that how you make yourself vulnerable to learn. Vulnerability is generally, viewed in a negative sense. Here, it is viewed in a positive sense for how you can make yourself vulnerable to learn. Otherwise, what will happen is that I know all kind of an attitude, which will prevent any further learning. That means in the growth curve, you are going to drop gradually. So you start asking the question like, I don't know, or how stupid I was, or no, could I have done something better? So these kind of questions, if you keep asking yourself, then you are subjecting yourself to be more vulnerable to learning. So look forward for some odd mistakes. So you may be doing it, routinely, a lot of things, but sometimes, it may not be a perfect. So sometimes you may be making a mistake. It could be a very odd mistake, or it could be a common mistake, which others also do. So look at, what kind of mistakes you do, and it will give you a perspective of what you are missing while learning, and it will also give you a perspective of how to learn. So these four basically are the kind of, you can call it as a tool, or the steps, or how you can set up yourself to learn how to learn. Hope you enjoyed this, and looking forward to meeting you in another session. This is Gokul. Thank you. Have a nice day. Cheers.